Welcome back to the Voyage Outdoors podcast. This is episode number two with Jared and myself. What's up? I think
Up,
today
brother.
we talked a little bit beforehand, but I think today we're going to talk about kind of off season. Our seasons have ended in Missouri and now have ended in Arkansas for whitetail, and then now it's tag season for out west. So I think we just talk about what we do off season wise for whitetail and then what we do for tag season. I don't have a I don't know what's open right now for out west. I mean, I have a good understanding of a few, but we've already put in for out west turkey. That kind of happens in January. But talk to me, Jared. You're in a new place, you're in a new state. Your off season looks a little bit different. What's your plans for the off season of whitetail? Whitetail.
Yeah, I would just say any year, regardless, it's just kind of planning and preparing out of state hunts and trips and trying to figure out logistics. Tag season's big right now and just preparing for that, especially out west. So right now, boots on the ground for the permission properties I have to hunt. I I got access to these properties late last year, probably about right around midsummer. So everything was already grown up by then. A lot of these places they're steep, they're thick, they're hilly. So just trying to navigate through these some of these terrain features when everything's overgrown, it's really difficult to see. And now I'm getting back into the woods postseason and trying to just find the sign and find the trails, find the rubs, find the scrapes, and figure out how these deer are using the specific property I have to hunt. And really the properties, the permission properties I have, one's about 20 acres and the other couple are about 10 acres. So they're really small and they're kind of scattered and just kind of dissecting them. And thermals play a big role out here. And I've struggled trying to get eyes on my target buck during the times I've been hunting. And I think I've failed last year because of the thermals. And, it's just the steep terrain, the topography. So really just trying to reset my game plan for these specific areas and figure out how I can be successful next year. And, I went out there the last 2 days. I've been able to kind of walk these properties and when I initially got them and walked the outskirts and the edges of the property lines, I was like seeing some areas that I thought were good, but it verified with boots on the ground that hey, like those specific spots that I thought were good when I first got them are actually kind of areas I should focus on. So it just verified my intuition and what I had seen before and just coming up with new game plans. From there, we're trying to figure out, I'd like to come hunt maybe Missouri a couple times this year, whether that's public land or, come out to the old Gildner farm. But we'll see. But
Yeah.
whitetail season, yeah, it's just every year you're planning and preparing and getting ready for the next season and how can you be successful? And it's just going through the steps, the process of elimination, looking at your last season, how well did it go, what you did well, what you didn't do well, what you can change, and yeah, filling tags and trying to be successful and have the encounters with the mature deer. That's what it's all about right now.
Yeah,
So
no, so I have a theory on a few things with that. So walk-in properties, any disturbance on a property is disturbance, right? And so the best time to walk a property, especially if you get access in August or September or October on a property, you really don't want to walk the whole thing. I never have in the middle of the season when I got access. Kind of just like looked at the Onyx maps of it, try to find something good from there, try to find good access to where I thought was good spots, hunt it, see stuff visually. But when their antlers fall off, I think it's the best time to go and just disrupt the whole place. They're in this their dominance and of a place is low. They have no, and it's after season. I think they have a sense of when they get hunted a little bit from humans. I believe that. And so I think the best time to go make changes, to go do things in your property is like March. That's my belief. That's why I try to do that. I've been trying to do it the last 2 or 3 years is come the time when the antlers fall off, look for antlers, love shed hunting, and then also make changes. Like I want to have all my set hang-ons done by mid-April. Obviously, hopefully before that with turkey season coming, so I don't have to worry about that. But I just think it gets tough. You get late. There's not much time to get stuff done. You think there is in the off season? Off season ends January, February, it's cold. March comes, you kind of should do it in March, in my belief. But then turkey season comes and you're turkey hunting, you're not thinking about deer hunting. And then in the summer, you're not thinking about deer hunting in the summer. You're not thinking about hanging stands. But when this has happened to me for like 6 years. It used to happen to me all the time, 6 years straight of you get out there in August and you start like hanging a little bit, doing a little bit, but then season hits and you're like, I need to stand there. I need to stand there. I just think it's like the worst time to start going in with a chainsaw and knocking shooting lanes down and there's
Well, it
not a
sucks
bad
too
time to
because
do
it's
it.
midsummer, you know?
It does suck midsummer. That's why I think
Yeah.
March overall is the best time to do it. I think their testosterone's low. They have no antlers on their head. They're it's after season. And it's just a good time to do it. But
Yeah,
when
and
it
everything's
comes,
not grown up. It's still good
nope.
weather. You're
Yeah.
you're really able to make your changes that, from the deer movement or the deer activity that you saw last year. And, whether you need to be 50 yards over or completely different, side of the farm, now's definitely the time to do it with the low foliage, not a lot of growth happening yet.
Hmm.
And just, yeah, the boots on the ground, you can really see the topography and all the trails right now. So
Yep.
just setting up on
And
finding those pinch points and everything.
yeah, and another piece to that too is like it's clear and looks still clear in March, like not a lot of leaves on the trees. And that's the time you should walk every inch of your property. Like you should take one day and go to the bedding area that you never step foot in. You should go to pieces that you've never walked. Maybe you door knocked in October, got permission, started hunting. Like take a time in March to understand the pieces you've never, and you should never go in those areas. And you should stay away like from stepping foot in their real core bedding and try to hunt just on the edge of that. So March is a great time to go into their core bedding and say, hey, what's going on in here? What's it look like? What's the sign? Is there bedding?
Yeah.
Is this kind of where they're staying? Like walk every inch of that. Like shed hunting is a great time to do that. That's just kind of my belief. That's what I do every year. And then from when summer hits, I stay out of their core area. When come May after turkey season, I don't go back into any part of my lease at least where it's a core area of bedding. I stay out of it. Turkey season's done. I'm out of that farm, not trying to disrupt anything. But
Yeah, you've had it for a few years now. So you really know where you need to be, where you don't. You're still making micro
oh,
tuning and small
always,
changes here and there.
always.
But yeah, with a new property, it's like, yeah, I just got to get boots on the ground. I still got to go walk it some more. I wasn't able to be out there for too long, maybe about an hour today, and I was able to get the left side of the property walked and have a better understanding. And now I need to go back where we hung that one stand. I haven't been over there yet, so
Yeah.
but
And
just
yeah, to add to that, when you get in what I do when I get a new property is if I'm going to take time when depending on when I get it, if it's going to disrupt, like if it's August or September or October, if I'm going to go walk it, I'm going to make sure that first time I go out there and disrupt that farm, it's going to be a one event thing. So I want to get as much information from checking it out on one visit. I just think you can get like I think people get carried away with scouting, especially a farm for whitetail. It's like, I'm gonna go scout some more. I'm gonna go scout. I'm gonna do a scout. It's like that's constant like human pressure and it's too much. Like you need to go out, if you get the farm from August or permission to hunt a farm from August to December, take a day, go out there and learn the property. One day. You disrupt that place one time. And then don't. Like make decisions based on your e-scouting and the one day you went out there and make sure you cover as much as you can. And I know you do that. You try to minimize, you're not out, on a new piece that you just gained four separate times trying to scout it and learn it. You scout by
yeah,
hunting the edges
that's
in.
yeah, it is tough. And if it's if you still got a couple months, a month, or so until it's the season, I think you're fairly safe if you're, in and out
Mm,
and not. But it just, like that buck, I think I don't know when I got him. I got permission in August, and
how many
ever
times
since
did
I
you go in
set a
there?
camera, that buck was there almost every day until the season started, and then he was already making his transition to his next area for the
How many?
season. So yeah, that's tough to say, but they're smart. The big bucks, you definitely want to stay out of there if you got some mature deer on there.
Yeah, but when you got that permission piece, you didn't go right to the middle of it. You put up
I did
cameras.
not. I did stay. You're right. I did stay on the edges. I
How far was your
did.
camera from the fence or from the edge of the
Oh,
property? 5 yards?
yeah, 10,
That's kind of,
15.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think yeah, I don't know if you were
I
like,
had walked it though, and like I said, it was during the time I got it, it was super thick, it was dense. I just there was no trees for me to access and hang. And so yeah, that property line, that fence row was my best course of action based off the intel I had for the short period of time that I had access to gain that, get on that property. So
mhm.
but yeah, I do agree the less amount of intrusion you can get into their core bedding area, the better off you're going to be long term.
Yeah, I know it all depends. Like, there's variables. Like, it depends on how big, your area of hunting is, right? And there's a lot of different
Can you give me
things.
can you give me a second? My girls, I don't know if you can hear them, but they're
I
trying to
can.
open the door and scream and
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a little. I'm always saying this. I think there's a little over scouting sometimes. My philosophy is that give me one March to walk the whole thing. Give me one like after season time to do it. I'm not going to do that from September 1 to December 31st.
no.
I'm not going to intrusion that property. And you know what? That first
Unless you
season,
just get access to it and it's
well,
like, all
no,
right,
I
let's
think
go
it's
hang a
more,
stand.
I think it's more beneficial to start with e-scouting it. And when you go in, I'm talking about going into the property is fine. But if you're e-scouting it and you determine, I think here is the great a spot that was going to work based on what I've seen from the edges of it and what I've seen from just what I can see with my own eyes. Maybe it's very open, maybe it's not very open. But e-scouting and going, okay, I think this is the best spot. And then you look at the best access for that spot, and you can go in for the best access and where you believe, and that's when you can go in and take a shot. But touching every part of it, like what you believe and what you see on Onyx to be betting, you're not going to say, okay, I just got this property September 1st. I don't think this is what you should do, but so it's fine if you do. But I'm going to go walk every edge. I'm going to go walk every. If you do that, that's fine. Do it one time. Don't scout this seven. Like, don't scout the place 7 times. Don't walk the whole place seven
Yeah, that's
times.
it's not necessary if you're
It's not
doing it
necessary.
right.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. We have way too nice of like Onyx and we have a lot of properties aren't as thick as, we're talking about two very thick properties is what we're referring to at the very moment where you can't see anything from the edge.
Yeah.
It's the screening is very deep and you have to get into the property to really learn it. But so there are properties you can do a lot of scouting. You can scout 7 times from the edge of the property, and that's amazing. That's the way it should be if you want to scout 7 times. But the ones like we're hunting and we're referring to now are very thick, and navigating those and I just think is best.
Especially if you know it's bedding area, yeah, there's no need to just go trample through there. But figuring out, where they're entering and exiting is huge.
Yes, yeah. All angles of the property, trying to figure out what can I glass. That's a big thing is like, our properties are thick. Okay, well, what edge of the property? That's another thing I've done where like my lease, I can go down this back road and get where I can see like 300 yards to an edge of my property that I couldn't see from anywhere else. And I can pull into a driveway and glass it up. And that's important too. Seeing deer come off your piece and come onto your piece. Where are they doing that? Um,
Yeah. That's what
you
I
know,
love doing that, being able to glass during the summertime.
for sure.
And then,
Yeah.
oh man,
It's good.
try to pattern a buck early on, like while he's still there, holding on to that property. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had a permission piece that was like that had a good mature buck that I could glass. So I've never even had a bean field. I've never had a bean field, you know? I've never had that to glass. I had one property, but it was all bean. It was just a bean field with a couple trees.
Yeah,
So
but
there was
you can,
nothing much out
even though
there.
it's not a bean field, you still glass from the property that you got because they go into that field every night. They did the previous years, unless it's changed where they got cattle in there now.
Okay, so let me rephrase that. One set August, they didn't have cows in that field behind my place, and yes, you're right, I could glass. Kind of wish they'd take them off there, but because that was awesome to get to glass those every night from that one. I
Yeah,
guess
you almost
I,
saw them every night. Yeah,
yeah, taking that back, I had one year where a field next to my property, they always had cows, and then they pulled the cows for one summer in August and September, and they were out there every night hitting that clover. So that was really fun. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's fun.
so yeah, that was fun. Off-season planning. I like to shed hunt. Love that. I like to now I wasn't always making changes with stands this time of year, just now starting that whole process because it's not doable in August. You remember when me and you hunted together in the valley? It's like October,
We were cutting trees.
November 4th.
We
I
were
was
cutting
cut.
trees down, sawing trees down.
And
The
guess you know
morning of
what?
the hunt.
The morning of the hunt, I was sitting there sawing this 3-inch tree down, thinking it was an evening hunt. We saw nothing that night. Now, it was
That
the
no,
rut. It was the rut. And the rut, I think you can get away with one
with a
evening
lot.
with he saw a tree down. And you're not going to see anything that evening, maybe. Maybe they definitely heard and smelled my sweaty ass just sawing that tree down. But that next morning, killed.
Yep.
And that tree cutting was the valuable piece. So
Oh,
I
we
think
needed it
there
for that shooting lane.
you can do things obviously in the fall. That's like it's not against like it's not gonna kill a big deer.
Oh
But
yeah, I do it all the time.
yeah, me too. But you're just best you're set up for success better.
Intrusion.
It's gonna
Yeah,
help you 5 to 10% because you're not doing it a lot. We're not doing it a million times, but we're like just getting it all done beforehand is going to increase your odds because one, you're gonna be confident. When I go to that stand, it's ready. It's ready.
yeah.
Confident, you get in that stand, you have no, and the mishaps may happen where they go and you didn't realize to cut that one branch this way. That's fine. Cut it in the off season, cut it that day, but at least you got all the angles that you thought of before,
Yeah.
and you're not
You know, there's overgrowth that's still going to be popping out somewhere that
for
you may
sure.
have to get to or
Mhm.
cut later. But yeah, if you can do the majority of it now, um, it's going to just better your odds and success without doing it all right before the season
Yeah, and that
or
actually
in
brings me to
season.
agreed. That brings me to a good point where um, we're talking about places that we have permission or we lease that we could have set stands, right? And so majority of guys probably hunting public where they can't prep trees because you can't cut limbs technically on public. And we have never cut limbs on public. I have never done that in my life. So you can't cut limbs, but
Maybe snap a twig here and there.
that's what the value, yeah, that's what the value of when you go to a place that you're hanging hunt and you're going into with a saddle, going slowly and trying to visualize each tree and what the angles and what the shooting lanes are is more important than going slow because it's more valuable to take your time on the ground going, what tree really is best? Okay, where's a straight one? Where's one with least amount of limbs? And then secondly, trying to visualize, okay, that would be in the way probably. That like that's an art almost. I don't think I'm super good at that. I don't
It is an art.
it's an art going in and saying, okay, picking the right tree and being able to visualize the lanes from 15, 16, 20 foot up and picking the right tree is very important when you go into public or you can go into your own place and hang and do a hang and hunt on a place you didn't have prepped. So there's like a few different things
Well,
to
it's not
that.
only that from the visual of the ground, but also like once you start making way up that tree, you need to be like, okay, how high can I go in this tree before
Yeah.
I have no shots or I'm really changing my lane? So and that's kind of where sometimes maybe hunting lower, it can be
Yes.
beneficial if you don't know what you have above and where your shooting lanes are.
So funny you bring that up. I got a text from you about a month or two ago. It said, I'm only hunting 10 foot off the ground next year,
Yeah.
and I might just hunt on the ground. I'm gonna let you. I didn't reply. I said, let's save this for the pod.
Yeah.
I got a lot of questions. I'll
Yeah.
let you explain why that thought popped in and why you texted it to me because I was like, what is going on here?
I think it's just being able to reset if I'm in a bad area, right? Instead of being three sticks up, 20 feet in the air or so. Really I can just be 10 feet up or less. And if I need to reset, it's not that much of a pain. Secondly, going into blind areas half the time, going to hunt the national forest or not knowing the property is in depth or detailed, I'm probably going to try to, hunt lower if I'm just randomly picking some spots that I know the deer are traveling, but I don't have a specific tree, cut and prepped for the sit. And it's those two things. And I think the biggest thing is just not wanting to get so high up in the tree anymore. Maybe it's part of me being lazy. Um, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just want to try it. The biggest thing for me is hunting from the ground is going to be on national forest and just being able to be a lot more mobile instead of, being 20 feet up in the tree and then I'm seeing deer moving, 100 yards away or so. It is just more of a pain. So staying low, staying mobile, and not having to carry as much gear in, I think that's my thought process. And so that's kind of the reason why I wanna try it out. And thankfully, my first stick, my aider, it's actually a like a rescue aider. It's made out of webbing. It has 4 steps on it. So my first stick, I'm already 10 feet plus into the tree and then I can just set my platform from there. And if I want to take one more stick, well, then I'm at least 15 feet up in the tree with those two things. So, um, yeah, it's lightweight, streamlined, just being quick and nimble and being able to adjust on the fly. So that's my thought, and I'm gonna try it out.
Uh, no, look, hats off to you. I think hunting from the ground is
Yeah, okay.
no, yeah, good luck, dude. Good luck. No, hunting from the ground is very interesting. I think it's like really exciting, but it's really difficult. Like you have to be very still.
You don't
I think,
see as yeah, unless you have a good vantage point, it is harder. You're not going to see as much, and unless you're on a good vantage point or a little knob or a higher
yeah,
elevation. So that's why I'm thinking just, one stick in my platform, just at least getting off the ground a little bit,
be yeah, be up a little bit.
being able to see a little bit further in the hilly terrain. And so I don't know. We'll see. I might, you know, yeah. I
No,
might I
no.
might run it for a handful of sits and hunts and then just say, oh, screw this. I'm going back to
Okay.
the
Well,
normal.
I was excited to hear why you want to do that. I mean, I think the last year thing is really nice. I mean, obviously we have a lot of you're about to go into some deep Arkansas national forest, and that makes sense because
Yeah.
I think that's a big was that a big piece of it too, like
That's a
hiking
big
into
piece of it.
okay.
Yeah.
Because like for you and your other spots, you can have set stands like I have, and you can do that, or you can prep trees and just go up a couple sticks, and it's not very far to walk. But going to the national forest with a lot of gear is kind of a pain. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, that's cool. I'm excited to hear how that goes. I can see it. I think
Thanks.
I think it really doesn't. I think effectively, I think on the ground is tough. I think 10 foot up like I've heard a lot of arguments about this lately about 10 foot up is actually, their eyes naturally go up when they're looking at a tree because of hunters, they've always hunted at a certain height. No one really knows if that's true or not. There's no science to back that. But a lot of people are, talking about the 10 foot up, right? The only thing, maybe your scent and your thermals, they're falling from a higher vantage point when you're higher too. That is a true, I mean, so, how does your scent disperse at lower at the ground? It's probably going to disperse a lot less the lower
Quick.
you are to the ground. That's a true, I mean,
Mm,
that's a,
yeah.
yeah, because whenever the wind's taking your thermals, it's carrying them from a higher 20, 30 feet up. It's just carrying those things. And then when it starts carrying your thermals, they get wider and wider as it, if you've ever seen like a thermals from like a smoke bomb 20 foot up in a tree,
Yeah.
they always spread, right? They
Yeah.
don't stay in a
Yeah.
tight little, but when you're on the ground and your thermals are pulling your thing, they're spreading, but it's low to the ground. It's going, it's not, it's dispersing and falling to the ground, right? Your thermals are either
Yeah,
rising
I could see that. Makes
or
sense.
dropping. Yeah. So there are theories on that scent maybe helping, being more helpful. Now, if your thermals are rising, I don't think it matters where you're at in a tree.
I
Um,
could see it too. Like if you have a trail right underneath your stand and you're higher up, well, that your scent's going to be pushing kind of, even though it's still dropping, it's kind of going to go blow over or past that close trail versus if you're lower,
it's gonna
it's,
hit it.
you
So
know,
yeah, there's a lot of
so there
theories
could be
there.
pros and cons there.
Yeah, and of course, no one really knows. No one's tested this theory on deer and has no scientific data. But I think there's some interesting things. I think Cody DeQuisto was talking about it too, of course, and hunting 10 foot off the ground. He said you just have to be more still, which if you have the ability to be still, I think ground hunting and low hunting is just as effective as hunting 20 feet up.
Yeah, you got to be still.
I kind of want to hang, I kind of want to swing around the tree a little bit and play on my phone. So I may go up to 20 feet. I kind of want to swing around up there and play on my phone. No, I'm joking. I do tend to do that from time to time, but no, I think it'll be interesting. I've kind of went lower recently. I've been doing three sticks and like,
Not, yeah, not as many. Yeah, that's what I did all
yeah,
last couple of years is just three, ditch the fourth stick and
same,
I'm able to
same.
get up high, just as high.
My retractable bow rope is 16 foot, and I haven't maxed that thing out in like forever. You
I
know,
think that's
from
good.
where my waist is. So my platform might be, or my head might be 16 plus feet, but my waist is never hardly 16 feet, like hardly ever now. So
Yeah, I think that's a good. I mean, it's plenty enough to be up in the tree and kill
yeah.
deer.
Okay, so off season, we're basically I'm going into properties, shed hunting, getting a visual of them if I haven't already, if they're new to me. Still looking at the whole property if they're still not new to me. Um, Game planning for next season. Same thing for you. You're looking at your properties, analyzing where the sign
Yeah, I'm
is.
trying to get. I mean, these next couple months, I really need to start doing a lot more door knocking. If you look at my Onyx, it's just all freaking a red map
Yeah.
of points of interest of places that I haven't been able to door knock to or send letters to and contact the owners. And so it's yeah, being in a new state. Thankfully, I was able to capture some pieces
Hmm.
of property and had a couple good bucks to hunt. Moving forward, I just, yeah, that's my game plan. I don't own land. It's either public or permission property. So
Yep.
I'd rather hunt permission property if I can.
Same. Anywhere
And
I
if it
go.
doesn't have any good deer, well, or good sign, I'm moving on to the next one.
Yep. We talked about in a lot of last podcast about ways to kill a big deer or a good deer every year, and we believe the most effective way is to find them.
Yeah.
And that's one of the only options we got because we don't own property. But actually, I'm glad you brought up door knocking. People, I don't know when most people are door knocking. I hear the people I know that door knock typically start in that late summer, at August timeframe. If you're in a place that's heavily hunted by people door knocking, mine's there's not a lot of people doing what I'm doing around me, so it's not as big a deal. But if you're in an area where it's heavily hunted, a lot of people are door knocking, a lot of people are trying to get permission. Now is the most valuable time because if there's a farm that's not being hunted, you can knock on it now for next season, and it's not going to be a bad time to knock. Hey, for next season, can I? Because
Yeah.
everyone that's
Never,
going to,
yeah.
yeah, everyone's
You can
going to
knock,
knock that
you should be knocking any time of the year.
any time of the year because the guys that are gonna flood out there, and I'm guilty of it. It gets to be like July, and I'm like, I need to get one more piece. I need to go find another deer. And in July or August, I'll go start door knocking like crazy. And I've door knocked in March and May, and I've got permissions in May, in March, in July. I've got permission any time of the year. And the best time to
Yep.
go is early because if you believe there'll be a buck in the area. But it's also tough too because you also want to do a little like summer scouting, go do some glassing, driving around, maybe spot a quality deer, maybe find a quality deer just from driving and scouting, and then boom, from there, let's disperse. Where can I get?
That'd
What
be
can I do to
nice.
hunt that deer? That's what
Yeah.
you've done that
I did that
before.
a lot in Tennessee.
Yeah, I've done that. And that's why a lot of people door knock in August. But if you have an area you want to door knock, do it in March, April, or May. So
I'm gonna I gotta wrap things up here soon. We got the little ones
yeah.
screaming for me.
Okay. Great. We'll call this a late season pod. Get anything prepping for, we'll do prepping for elk season next pod. So anything late off
Yeah,
season
let's
whitetail, what do you have to
yeah,
say
off-season
there?
whitetail, man. Boots on the ground, door knocking, just trying to find animals, man. You know,
Yeah,
trying to find animals. That's the name of the game. We don't have a problem finding them. It's just sometimes finding the big ones and killing them.
yeah, stuff. It's tough sometimes. I honestly, our off season is more about planning for elk hunting and out hunting or mule deer hunting. But that's a whole nother pod. We can talk about that. There's more we can do for whitetail now, we're doing it, but there's a lot more we can do if we were only focused on that, but we're not. We want to go chase some
Yeah,
muleys.
it's tough, man. It's just spread thin in all areas right now.
Yeah, tag season we talked about the other day. Western tag management. If you don't have the money to spend on a company doing it for you, it's a full commitment right now. It's a full
It
commitment of
is.
understanding what tags are going. Because if you can afford a company like Hunt and Full, where you give them your card information, you give them your desires and your wants, they will purchase all your tags for you. That's a great service. But if you do not have that, it is a full commitment of understanding all these processes.
Yeah, I would say if you don't go that route, I think it's $100 a year to kind of have some one-on-one conversations with them, and you can tell them where you are, what your game plan is, what kind of hunts you're looking to do, and they will help guide you through the process. They also have an additional membership, which they will do
Hmm.
your tag services for you. I would say the best bang for your buck is Go Hunt.
Hmm.
GoHunt has their filtering odds, which will tell you your state, your species. It will break down, you can break down how much public land, like percentage. Does it have 90% public land in the unit? Does it have 5%? It will break down the trophy size that you want to hunt. Like I said, the species. And then you can also break it down into like how many points you have, and it will give you all that for every state. Then they also have a new one. I forget the name of it, man. It's draw odds or something, but it will tell you if you have 5 points in Colorado or any unit or any state, it will tell you essentially your odds for drawing that state and what units you can draw. And that's a game changer because you can
Yes.
predict, you can try to say you got five, but this unit you want to hunt is six. Like you may still be able to draw that, maybe. You can kind of play that game. So if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to do the research, it makes it really easy. And I think that's $100 a year too. And then you get
Yeah.
discounts on um, on their website for their gear and everything. If you become a member and sign up for 100 or 120 bucks, whatever it is, I think you get like $50 or $100 back to shop at
Yeah.
their on their website. So they have a lot of good deals on there, and guys are really knowledgeable. But I
Yep.
really
Yeah.
like those, and I like their e-scouting tools. They have those as well. Their
Hmm.
filtering service, all that. So it's if you can afford the $100 and you want to do some Western hunts, that's a really good place to start.
It is. Yeah. And they update their those odds on that filtering after every draw result from each
Yeah.
state gets posted. And then the points of who won, they update those every time those get posted. So it's a yearly occurrence that they update those because the odds
Yeah, it's
change.
it's huge, and there's once you become a one of those members, you can actually reach out to other members that have hunted those units and try
Yeah.
to get some intel, and
You can post
it's
pictures in
uh it's a
there.
it's a game. It's a
Yeah,
game.
you can post pictures in there and communicate with other members and
Yep.
other people that have hunted those units. It's a great community and a great tool. So
That's a really good resource. I think between that
yeah.
and Onyx, those are kind of like really the only two things you need if you're self-sufficient
Hmm.
and can figure things out on your own.
Yep. And they post enough content on their podcast and their YouTube that if you're start with Go Hunt, they'll teach you everything you know about Western hunting. And that's what
Hmm.
tool I would use. And if you had enough money to pay for the Hunt and Full, or I don't know if Go Hunt does it, but the Hunt and Full will take over your point system for you. If you have enough disposable income to just say, handle this for me, this is my desires, that service is the most valuable service you could possibly buy if you have the income to do so.
Yeah.
You just
Go
tell
Hunt
someone,
is offering that as well now, but
are they?
I think it's pretty pricey. I think it's like $500, but they
It's not
will do
bad.
it all.
A year or
Yeah,
a month?
a year.
That's not bad. That's not terrible.
They will put in for any species, any state. They will do the whole process for you, and then you'll have
That's
one-on-one like counseling and guiding of like, hey, what's your expectations, what kind of hunt, what species,
hmm
and they will literally help you tell you about what unit and help you point, what certain basins or certain areas to focus on. I mean, I think they just did a podcast on it that I listened to. So
that's probably more valuable than 500 bucks, but I think there's
yeah,
a lot of people out there that would spend 500 on
especially
that.
if you don't
So
know what you're doing,
yeah, I spent
don't know how
500
to go
now.
about it.
I
So,
might
well,
do it.
let's wrap this up.
hmm
Next podcast, let's go more in depth for Western.
I like it.
Um, we can go application season. We can talk more about how we plan our hunts and what we have coming up, and we'll go from there.
Okay. All right, brother. This was
All
great.
right, man.
Episode 2
All right,
down.
dude. Be good.
All right.
See you,
See
dude.
ya.